And I will start off with the Adley Rutschman trade. I'm not going to lie, I did not think that this was going to happen. I did not expect the Red Sox to be a name for Adley Rutschman, let alone I did not know if Adley Rutschman was a true trade piece during this year's trade deadline. But in this deal, the Red Sox acquired Adley Rutschman, Jake Rogers, basically just going to be a backup catcher for the Red Sox or even a third string catcher. And then in return, the Red Sox traded Kyson Witherspoon, Endy Azokar, Carlos Narvaez, Anthony Ianson, and a player to be named later. I'm not going to lie, this is a big haul to acquire Adley Rutschman. I like the risk that the Red Sox are willing to take on a guy like Rutschman. Obviously, we've seen the highs and the lows of Rutschman in his young-ish MLB career. I know he's 28 now, but he hasn't played in the MLB for that long. But yeah, at one point Adley Rutschman was considered to be the franchise player of the Orioles. Him and Gunnar Henderson were going to lead the Orioles to a World Series, and now here we are. Adley Rutschman is now the catcher for the Boston Red Sox. 2023 was his peak year. He was in MVP talks, like he had MVP votes, and then last year was a disaster, was injured a good amount, things like that. Turned into an all-star this season, has like a 1.8 WAR. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense for the Orioles to trade Adley Rutschman. Obviously, it seemed like the writing was on the wall last year when the Orioles signed Samuel Basallo to an extension, as well as when they signed Pete Alonso too. There wasn't really a place for Adley Rutschman really long-term for this team. On the flip side, for the Red Sox, when you really think about this team right now, their biggest need was catcher. Obviously, Carlos Narvaez, who was included in this deal, he hasn't had a great season so far. His play compared to last season completely fell off, and he became an unusable player. He's a great defensive catcher, but offensively, he has really struggled this season, so it makes no sense to keep this guy around. And I know Red Sox fans would be thinking, why not Connor Wong? Like, why can't we just cut bait with Connor Wong? Well, Connor Wong has actually been good this season. I wouldn't say good, but effective. He's a great bunter, great defensive catcher. He's very usable, and so that's why he's staying with this team right now. But when it comes to the offensive production for the Red Sox at the catcher position, it's non-existent. And acquiring a guy like Adley Rutschman, who's a switch hitter, he's had a proven track record of being a great offensive catcher. It's a rare commodity in Major League Baseball to have a great hitting catcher. When it comes to this deal, it's a risk, and obviously the Red Sox proved that because they gave up two of their best pitching prospects in Kyson Witherspoon and Ianson. When I heard what the package was to acquire Adley Rutschman, hearing both of those names be involved, I did not love that, I can't lie, but also at the same time, look at the Red Sox rotation now. Garrett Crochet, who's going to come back. They have Ranger Suarez, they have Sonny Gray for the time being, they have Jake Bennett, they have Pantoli. Those are 5 guys. And additionally, they have a bunch of other injured pitchers. There's a lot of things that the Red Sox can do for the time being. In the foreseeable future, they have a solidified at least 3 to 4 guys that will stay in that rotation for the foreseeable future. So it makes sense to cut bait with 2 of these guys, especially getting a guy like Adley Rutschman. Along with that, Adley Rutschman comes with control. This isn't a rental right now. He has at least another season and a half with the Red Sox, so it's a good sign for Boston right now. So hopefully, as long as Adley Rutschman stays healthy, as long as he's playing like the version of himself right now, I would love for the Red Sox to hopefully sign this guy to an extension, because if they end up signing him to an extension, then this trade would make me feel a lot more comfortable. But I'll leave it off like this. It's a huge risk. The Red Sox gave up a ton of prospects. But at the same time, the AL is wide open this year. And considering the play of the Red Sox, even after, snapping their 15-game win streak, they are still a hot team. They just swept the LA Dodgers. This team is a legit contender. And so acquiring a guy like Adley, again, switch hitter, he's a great defensive catcher too. So it's not like this team is taking a flyer on an injured catcher who they're relying on him for his bat. I really like the risk when it comes to this. If Adley Rutschman really works out, this offense from top to bottom, it's really legit. Imagine this team if they were completely healthy. Curtis Mead at second base, Adley Rutschman behind the plate. I know he's on the 10-day IL, so he'll be coming back eventually. And additionally, take into account the pitching side too. There's a lot of injuries. I forgot to mention Roman Anthony and Garrett Crochet. If you take all the injuries away from this team, and I know I'm playing into the hypotheticals and everything like that, but this team healthy is legit if you just look at it on paper. And so adding a guy like Adley Rutschman, I mean, he was the biggest name that was traded on the day of the deadline. So it's a huge risk, but it makes a lot of sense. His baseball savant page looks really great to me. So that's all that matters. Witherspoon and Ianson are going to be in that rotation for the Orioles. Makes a lot of sense for Baltimore in the long run to just make this trade in general, and it sets themselves up for the future. Obviously, this Orioles team has struggled with pitching, and they ended up getting 2 legit pitching prospects in this deal. I don't know about the other prospect involved, but I believe he is the 5th prospect. He's an outfielder. I don't really know much about him, but I definitely do know more about Ianson and Witherspoon. I'm a big fan of Witherspoon. But yeah, so it makes a lot of sense. They cut bait with a guy who the writing was on the wall for him to leave this team. They're going to be good for the foreseeable future. This sets up this Orioles team in the long run. It's a worthwhile trade for them, and in my opinion, I think the Orioles are the winners of this trade, but just in the fact that I don't know exactly if this deal is going to work out the way the Boston Red Sox want it to work out. As of right now, I like this trade for the Orioles a lot more than I do for the Boston Red Sox. So yeah, that's the first trade that the Red Sox, or that's the first trade that I have to mention when it comes to this deadline.